Hi, this is Abdullah and welcome to my channel. This is my daily vlog, day 12. Today, I'm going to be talking about learning as a human being. So, the thing is, being able to learn, having the capacity to learn, is one of our biggest distinction. We as human beings are able to learn from our experience, we are able to learn from our past, and we can even learn from other people's past, other people's experience. And this is one of those things that makes it so important for us to be able to properly convey what we have learned. Okay, all the build up of knowledge, of human knowledge, that is the thing that bring rise to civilization. Yes, let's imagine how when the first man that built a house, he probably built it from very simple things like, maybe just um, wood or palm leaves that is available, that is easily cut. And then later you find that, oh, you can easily make bricks to make even stronger and better houses, bigger houses. And later we were able to discover steel, for example, and then make even skyscrapers. So little by little, the addition of knowledge built our civilization. So that is that is one of those things that happens over time after after years and years. Sometimes we don't see the relevance of just something that is very small, something that, oh, today we have learned something new. Tomorrow we learn another new thing. This all seems to be very small. But when you think of the fact that you're able to learn things from other people, also from other civilizations before this, and all the build up of knowledge, it can accelerate the learning process. So people in the future is able to learn everything as long as they want to learn of um, um, of what you have already learned. Okay, but the thing is, to learn, we must know what we need to know. Sometimes when we don't know what we need to know, what we want to know, then we do not learn anything. um, so to be able to learn, you need to be able to have an idea of what is it that you are looking for. Once you have the idea of what you are looking for, then you'll be able to start to gather information about it. So the way you gather information about it is either through the experience, your other people's experience, or you create your own experience. So basically, what it means is that you do experimentation. You try this, or this didn't work. You try that didn't work. So doing the experimentation is you are creating your own experience. Now, if you are able to find somebody or source that mentions all of the things that that you that you are already looking for, then you are getting the benefit of the experience of other people. So other people probably already done the experimentation that you wanted to do, and they already come to a conclusion. Then you'll be able to just follow the conclusion, making it a bit of a shortcut for you. But you know, Sometimes you need to verify the conclusion that they get. It might not be 100% correct, but most of the time, you can actually use those conclusions and build upon it and make other experiments and experiences to be able to build upon what you already have. So writing helps to preserve the experience of this knowledge. Okay, so when you experience something and you're able to write it down, then that that experience is preserved. Because if you don't write it down, if it's not somewhere physical, external of you, then you might change. You might forget it, or you might misremember it. Like for example, um, one simple example that we will have is like, for example, if you were to go to the shop and then you didn't write down, for example, the price of chicken on that day, and then the week afterwards you went to the shop and then you found that the price of the chicken has gone up, but you don't even remember what was the price before that. So then you have a problem. That's a very simple explanation, but basically the idea is that you once you write something, then you preserve it. It has to be external of your memory. It has to be external of your brain. So you can write it on a piece of paper. You can write it on a website. You can write it in a blog. You can write it. You can even record it. Um, you can record audio. You can record video in any other form, as long as it's not from your memory. Okay. So when we write it, we preserve that knowledge. We preserve that experience for our benefit and also for other people's benefit. So we can learn from it. We can in the future, when we forget or when we misremember, we can refer back to it so that you're able to strengthen that knowledge, strengthen the experience. But apart from our learning from it, we can also offer it to other people so that other people can also learn from our experience, can learn from our knowledge. So it's all about the flow of ideas. Okay, it's all about the flow of ideas. So if an idea was to be able to grow from one person to the next person to the next person to the next person, then the very last person will have very big idea of how things can be. Okay, so audio and video can also be used to preserve the ideas, to preserve the knowledge. And actually the audio and video is actually also writing, but it's writing in digital form. So like for example, inside the computer, it actually writes to the hard disk in the form of zeros and one, which is either kept magnetically or electrically. So that is one of those things that, um, but we can't see it with our own eyes, of course. But it is a form of writing. Okay, so the thing about writing is that it helps us to crystallize our ideas. So when we have a big idea, when we write about it, and we find that, oh, actually I should probably explain this part a bit more, and then we're able to write more about that. And then maybe we find that some of these things are not really clear. Maybe I need to think more about this. So we think more about it, and once we have got it clear, we can write more clearly. So by being able to write it, being able to express our ideas in writing, we make our ideas crystallize. We make it clearer. Okay, this is one of the reasons why, for me myself, I, apart from reading physical books, I like to also listen to audiobooks. But I prefer audiobooks compared to, for example, podcasts, for example, as a source of knowledge. Because the thing is, podcast is um, two or three, two or more people talking to each other. So they are all mostly mostly getting the information from their memory. So they just regurgitate what they already know, or sometimes they imagine. So sometimes they might misremember it and quote it wrongly and things like that. So that's one of the reasons why, even though I listen to audio to be able to get more ideas, but I prefer the audiobook version of source of idea as compared to podcast. I still use both, but in the sense of preference, where I would consider as knowledge gathering, I would consider audiobook um, much more preferable than podcast lah. Um, yeah. So there's many forms of writing, depending on the purpose of the writing. So sometimes you want to write for entertainment. So that might need for you to write for in long form, in a way that is like a story that it explains everything. Sometimes you're writing just for the purpose um, of conveying ideas. So you might write it in, like, for example, just like this, just inside a point form, you know, just point form like that. Okay, so and then that will be enough to be able to convert the ideas. Maybe sometimes you can have the writing in the form of some sort of drawing. So for you to be able to convey visual ideas. So all of that is depending on the purpose of the writing. So um, so the thing is, you need to write better to plan better, right? So if you have a plan, write it down. Write it down so that, like I mentioned just now, the ideas become crystallized. So your plan becomes something more solid, something more of what can be achieved, what kind of problems this might create. All of that you be able to think about it when you have already written it down, and then when you want to execute, then you don't have to rethink about it. You just read back your plan, and then you already know what to do. Okay, so that is all that I had planned for this talk today. Um, so until next time, thank you guys. Bye.